Hello everyone. Our channel updates the latest and fastest manhwa summary videos. We hope you will support us by subscribing to the channel to reach our goal of 1000 subscribers soon. I am the fated villain chapter 325. At this point, the eldest princess started handing over the items Gu Chang had requested in their earlier deal. However, she played it safe, announcing that the rest would only be handed over once the reincarnation platform was totally finished. Watching her act so cautious, Gu Chang realized the resources here were running dry, not as plentiful as his intel first suggested. Still, he kept his cool, cracked a small smile, and said, "No worries, princess, this is just a minor thing." Across from them, the elders were whispering, wondering if Gu Chang was smart enough not to stab them in the back. Another one spoke up in a condescending tone, insisting he had to play along if he didn't want to be stuck here forever. Back with Gu Chang, he started showing off his insane skills. He sat there meditating, floating in mid-air, while his hands controlled a mystical orb of light that sucked in energy from every direction. Down below, Jiuyu and the princess watched closely, not daring to blink for fear of missing a key moment. Jiuyu gasped in awe, saying it felt like she was seeing the actual cycle of life and death. The princess stood beside her in total silence, speechless at the epic sight. From all over, golden streaks of life and black streaks of death swirled around Gu Chang, solidifying into a reincarnation platform. An incredibly detailed and badass yin-yang seal appeared right on the platform. The elders watching this were blown away, confirming that this was definitely the reincarnation platform. Someone else shouted that this was the very item the reincarnation Heavenly Lord talked about, their key to getting out of there. Meanwhile, as Gu Chang worked his magic, he secretly thought to himself that this platform didn't seem to connect to reincarnation at all, but acted more like a geek's coordinate than a portal. Gu Chang sent his divine sense inside the platform and saw a nightmare. The legendary immortal emperor had been totally wrecked by a three-headed wolf beast. The people around him had suffered massive casualties, leaving behind a scene of pure destruction. A badly injured young guy roared in anger, shouting that immortality was nothing but a blatant lie. Behind that promise of eternal life was the three-headed beast, just waiting to slaughter anyone who entered. This place was actually a prison, and they were just the beast's backup snacks. Finally, he wondered who had spread such fake news to trick innocent people. An old man watching from afar sighed with regret over the downfall of a place that used to belong to top-tier powerhouses. Even his own clones couldn't turn the tide of the situation. The old man gritted his teeth and smirked with contempt at the immortality dreams of those he looked down on. He figured that helping him become the immortal king was their greatest honor. Since the Forbidden Era, the true immortal world had been cut off from the upper realm for a long time. He'd traveled through countless worlds over the years and had seen plenty of traps, just like this one. Even though these ancient worlds were different from the upper realm, they were slowly building up energy. Once the real path to immortality opened up, his endless clones would merge into a single entity. At that point, he would officially reach a whole new level. Suddenly, the old man felt a familiar aura and muttered to himself, wondering if those 6 people were still alive. He felt like this was a gift from destiny. Memories started flooding back clearly. Yet he still couldn't recall the names of those 6 old ancestors. Because of the item those 6 offered, he hadn't grasped the essence of life, death, and reincarnation to achieve true immortality. Back with Gu Chang, Prax suddenly appeared on the reincarnation platform, as it started blasting out intense light. A huge explosion went off, shattering the platform into pieces. Gu Chang looked panicked and asked what the hell was going on. He wondered why the process had failed. He questioned how everything was going so well only for it to fall apart like this. Over on the other side, the ancestors were furious, suspecting Gu Chang was pulling some kind of scam. They thought he was trying to force them out of hiding to intervene. Gu Chang mused that the elders' rising energy proved the reincarnation platform was a vital item for them. But it seemed these guys still didn't know the platform could summon some truly terrifying creatures. He realized that trying to take this place over by himself right now would be pretty tough. So, he decided to switch up his plan and put on a different show. Thinking fast, Gu Chang turned to the princess and complained that he didn't know where he'd messed up. He lamented that all their hard work and time had gone down the drain. He concluded that the only way was to start over from scratch, even if it took way more time. The princess just stood there stunned, with no choice but to ask Gu Chang to try again. Still, she started getting suspicious about whether this was an actual accident or if Gu Chang had rigged it. A few days later, Gu Chang went back to meditating, and a new reincarnation platform appeared in his hands, surrounded by a powerful aura of life and death. Down below, the crowd was stoked, constantly praising Gu Chang's talent. They cheered that everything had worked out perfectly. Some of them urged him to just hand the item over already. Yu Chang didn't rush, he just smiled and said plenty of people were waiting to see it, so the princess should stay chill. The princess group was startled by this and told Yu Chang to calm down and not do anything stupid. Ignoring their warnings, Yu Chang held the platform high, shot a beam of reincarnation power forward, and declared he would expose the true faces of those hiding. The blinding light hit everywhere, shining right into where the ancestors were hiding. Yu Chang growled, demanding the ancestors show themselves instead of staying in the shadows. The ancestors, now exposed, shouted in anger, asking Yu Chang how he dared to look down on them. Yu Chang pulled back the platform and sarcastically said that stalking him wasn't exactly what he called respect. Down there, Yu panicked, thinking the ancestors must be fuming after being played by Yu Chang. She worriedly asked the princess how they were going to fix this mess. The princess was also totally lost, thinking that things had spiraled way out of her control. One ancestor spoke up condescendingly, saying he wouldn't hold a grudge since Yu Chang was young and didn't know how the world worked. The old man demanded he hand the platform to the princess so they could let everything slide. Yu Chang gave a mocking smile, questioning the actual strength of these old, weak geezers. He claimed they were basically walking corpses, rotting away with barely any life left in them. He wondered if they truly didn't want to mess with him, or if they just weren't capable of doing it. Hearing this, the crowd below was super confused, and wouldn't stop gossiping. Yu couldn't hide her shock at what she just heard. She wondered if the ancestors were actually dying and rotting away. She was puzzled, because they were supposed to be immortals who lived as long as the heavens and earth. Another princess was skeptical, thinking Yu Chang was just full of it. The princess just stayed silent, her face pale from pure fear. Over here, the ancestors, stunned by the truth, reacted violently, and told him to stop slandering them. They insisted they'd been around since ancient times and couldn't be destroyed by time or the world. They scolded Yu Chang for being too young to understand stuff like this. Seeing them overreact, Yu Chang was even more sure his guess was spot on. He figured the power source hidden deep within this place was about to run dry. After saying his piece, Yu Chang took off quickly, but not without mocking how badly they wanted the reincarnation platform. He announced he'd leave the item for them. He challenged the 6 old geezers to see what they could actually do about it. The elders chased after him, while hurling insults, deciding they had to teach him a serious lesson. Right then, a massive explosion rocked the sky, sending debris flying everywhere. The shockwave was so intense it blew the princess group far away. A giant hand appeared, using an ancient treasure called the Mountain River Seal to attack Yu Chang while calling for backup, because he was too strong. Another old man rushed in to help and started rapidly forming hand seals. Yu Chang called them out for ganging up on him while constantly demanding respect. He thought the whole thing was a joke. The other old guy replied there was nothing left to say and called for everyone to charge at him together. Yu Chang silently noted that while their bodies seemed weak, their mental strength was still pretty formidable. Instantly, a third eye appeared on Yu Chang's forehead, blasting a powerful beam at the elders that even they had to praise. Not stopping there, he used a guard-shaped treasure to attack another elder. As a result, that elder was taken out instantly. Down below, the princess group was in total shock seeing an ancestor get defeated. They couldn't wrap their heads around how such a great ancestor could be taken down so easily. To them, it just didn't make any sense. However, the fragments of the elder's body suddenly started pulling back together, restoring him completely. He smugly declared that all of Yu Chang's efforts were pointless. He insisted that they were immortal in this place, and he couldn't kill them. Yu Chang sparked back, saying the guy was just being stubborn even though he was clearly running on fumes. He wanted to see just how much longer they could keep this up. Out of nowhere, an old man lunged from behind and snatched the reincarnation platform, catching even Yu Chang off guard. Having grabbed the item, the old man laughed and said the platform was their only real goal. Seeing that, Yu Chang called them despicable lowlifes who would do anything to win. But then a sly grin crept onto his face as he asked if they really wanted the item that badly. Then, he gave the order to break the defense. With a mysterious and smug smile, it was unclear if Yu Chang was planning to blow up the platform to wipe out all the elders at once.